Flash!
Heal, flash, auto attack, first blood. Froggy is the one to pick that one up, and Evelyn Bot is in the area. Descent does drop the Rift Guard. They're going to look to engage. It's going to be a Cataclysm getting dropped down, but Veigar got pulled into the Cataclysm, which could be trouble.
Ooh.
Down goes Evelyn Bot, down goes the Veigar as well. Hugs Descent and the support on the one side, but they're going to be the ones to get engaged on. Ultimate coming out for the Malphite onto the Veigar, but the Veigar is still okay for right now. He's going to try to flash the rest of his team as Evelyn Bot is on the look. The Caitlyn was left all alone on the backside, and no free hugs is now left all alone with everybody else from Farmingdale. Both of them are level 4. No Zillion bombs are available right now, which means French Delta Force is going to be able to get in. There's the flash, but the flag and drag lands, and El Unicornio in a lot of trouble. French Delta Force not able to get the kill. That one's going to go over to Huracan. Veigar doesn't quite know where he is. Has spotted him out. Here comes the Jarvan over the wall. Multiple members over the wall now as they're trying to get as much damage as possible. French Delta Force able to get the first kill. Now, bearing down on to the Xayah. They are going to get revived by the Zillion, but weak side. It just means they're a sitting duck to give more kills.
There's nothing. Yeah, they quite literally.
Malphite getting in there on multiple members here. Weak side is now starting to join the fight here. Somebody's in stasis, somebody's resurrecting, but it doesn't just matter. They're just all meant to die to Veigar. It's a double kill for weak side, a double kill for French Delta Force. They get a kill back.
Leave the old man alone!
But they are going to be able to close out onto the Zillion. The cherry on top for Froggy and Farmingdale State College.
Holding on to this stock at 160.
Oh yeah, both of these guys are decently heavyweight. Gonna be seeing very large percentages. And the back ear from that fat mansion to take it right there.
I see it too. Oh, good forward air tipper there. Hope should be able to recover from this unless you get countered. Dags with a huge opener there.
But Splat says, listen, I need you to get right back off stage. It's nice that you want to get here. You gotta go.
And the block, I think, actually helps Splat there. Again, falling because the second hit of that.
I didn't get to show out last time the way I wanted to. Well, I'll do it.
He's all warmed up now, but he will drop that stock this time around. Gordo up tilt, a week where they went to set number 3 and fell in that previous series.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, wow, what a down here. So you can kind of slowly build up damage. And then your armored move will not connect with all the hits, so you won't get the kill. And then you die. Tries to go for a very early up B kill right there. And your shield looks like a Skittle, and that will be it. The forward smash should be able to take it and hope with the JV3 against Splat.
That I think if you can use Milkman to shut down a B rush, you're pretty happy with that, especially if they're rushing right in. Mental Athlete catches 2, looking for more. Chris will not be outdone. Make it 3 for Mental Athlete. Yeah, that was more. You're more than happy with that trade.
And that means no KJ utility either, no extra peaks, and there's a quick trade down. Hookah wins between the Omens. It's Umbo, and uh-oh for Mars Hill, as that's gonna be a Brooklyn College first map win. Players, just 1 shot left, probably 30 HP combined as Noodle gets traded. It's all up to Chris. Headshot necessary for Excite as he's trying to dance around the side, doesn't know where he's coming from. And Chris just barely secures it. I think 1 more second of stalling, and that's a Mars Hill round, so absolutely brutal. The concussion come through, flashpoints as well. This is an all-out brawl.
So much
ramp coverage. And everyone's here, and it's all looking good for Brooklyn, maintaining that weapons advantage, just rushing on in, and that's a flawless in this map point round. Suddenly surrounded, I think got shut down by a Rolling Thunder, and sure, Geiper's looking the wrong way, but that is a perfect defending half for Mars Hill for the win. Shot down, and that's gonna be an extra kill from the blast, and now it's just Geiper left after a flurry of kills. And no time to waste. There's too much on the clock. Lots of damage dealt, but only 1 taken down.
Trades on 1 on each, and Knives finally come out though. I could hear them. Didn't look like they caught anything though. There's the flank. Axite with a stringer doesn't find anything now. But trades coming through. 1 on each. Chris continue to trade 2-2.
Oh
no! Finally the picks on Pixie. That's it. MHU stays alive.
Another moment where you're worried for him. Spring gets that first blood. 2 members left. We've seen August come alive when moments require it, but now with worse weapons and not quite the angle. That is a 13-10 win.
And well, we're already underway.
That we are, and I'm just so happy to be here. Of course, it's going to be Kilo Miles leading in on all the action, and I am Captain Ahsoka, going to be your co-host and commentator for today. And already, before we can even get the introductions done,
However, when iTheta gets the hit, then it's Nick Jam popped into the air, and that's no good. Especially when you're knocked off stage. Nick Jam trying to recover, going high, but gets knocked out of the air by the forward air, swatted away. Can he get it again? Waits for the air dodge, but he misses the up B.
Already you can see Ken trying to get right back to work, but they're in the red. They're in the critical percentages. One solid hit, and honestly, from Ike, nearly every hit is solid, as that will just about do it. It's the up air to get the final stock. Oh, nice forward throw off of the edge. Not going to be able to confirm, though, as yet another final elimination goes the way of iTheta. And if I'm not mistaken, that's 3 up, 3 down. FSU take the dub.
Oh, Helix. I would have liked to see him press that, because you can't get that height off the wall, and Mux is going to be able to take advantage of it. And I mean, we've seen flip resets, we've seen ceiling challenges, and we just get the basic old school air dribble to go right into the net. It's going to be Helix with the dribble away. Bumps 11 out of the way as well. That might be a goal. Helix over the top. Great downfield pass, and they're going to take advantage of the space created by this demolition. Able to get that one away. Helix going to get a pass back to the midfield, looking for Pancake. Going for the double tap. Squishy save attempt, not going to be there. Here's Helix off the side, and a forced own goal once again. Concord's going to take the lead. And Pancake's not able to read that as Helix gets a monster dunk here. Can you turn around on it? He can. Helix.
Just realizing this ball's got to go somewhere and always knows. Now Matt Mux down bottom. Oh, brutal right there. Oxygen. Okay.
84?
82. My goodness.
Okay,
I could not have been farther off. Excuse me, folks. Excuse me.
As this one might find the back of the net, and it does again.
Boy.
ET, let's give him 4. You know, we're talking about everything else.
14 seconds, maybe in somebody's dreams. There's another goal down bottom. 7 score differential here.
Zarya choice that V-Snipes is sitting on is going to help bring St. Francis to victory, but already Ohio Northern is going to get into the bases. Millions taking out their counterpart, and Zephyr now looking towards any more targets to be found, but the way they're falling, it's going to be basically just like that. It's already over before it even begins. And they do. Now with 5%, almost everyone in St. Francis caught inside of that Earth Shatter. The Immortality Field may have come up, but the damage, you cannot survive through it. No one able to touch from St. Francis. And Ohio Northern here, Jag is going to take map 1 of DePaul 2-0, 100-0 each round. V-Snipes, put your supports in great positions where they can not worry about damage, but still be able to get the healing. This is crazy from V-Snipes. They wanted to go in and try to meet the amplification matrix, but instead gonna meet their death, while Harry is having the time of their life on this Reinhardt.
It'd be a whole different sort of fight, but now they're going to try to go for a similar approach, but go a different way. But Harry knows. Harry's able to spear them off the map.
Wow.
Continued chaos.
We're seeing these things really doing the world's work on themselves, but Balder and this overclock 2 already looking to make that 3. Another pick here potentially. Really wanted to get rid of V-Snipes. Doesn't need the overclock, and now one final target to go. Caro assassinated. Boulders.
For a full one, at the very least, the Lucio trying their best to make it there. I do believe they'll at least get a little bit of a contest. But I mean, you can see where Harry is all the way in the spawn, and there's no more chances for St. Francis. Ohio Northern with a clean 3-0 to send them home with a smile.
East Coast Conference, we are back. My name is Crife, and I'm joined by my good friend Vincent over here. We have quite the matchup today. We're here in New York today. We got New York versus New York, and these teams have had such an amazing run throughout the semesters here at Esports U, and it is going to be a jam-packed one today. Vincent, how you feeling?
Listen, I'm feeling great. It's been a little light the beginning of the year for Valorant, at least for me. So I'm excited to jump back in the deep end. I've done a lot of Rocket League recently, so I'm happy to get back into this thing. And you're right, it is a New York kind of day. Honestly, the ECC kind of does feel like the New York conference sometimes. Listen, no disrespect meant, but every once in a while, I do feel like that's what's going down. But we got Utica Blue up against NYIT Yellow, and what's so fantastic about this matchup is defending champs coming in against an NYIT team that's always been putting together some fantastic matchups.
I have to agree, and with the fantastic map changes that have come through, the introductions, the cycling that we've had, it's been a bit of a shock for a few teams so far, being able to come back in and know that Icebox is returned, Haven is out, one of the really maps that these teams have gotten used to, especially Scent, Haven, they're at your top level picks, and you even have your agent changes, right? Sky was the staple, your initiator that was on almost every position. Map picks, at least for game changes, was at least 23% only for Sky, which has gone down significantly, especially given how those flashes have been working, and we have maps here. This Sky ideal is really making things hard, Vincent.
Yeah, it's been tough to kind of like decide where you want to go. Things a little less difficult to decide on a map like Ascent, which is where we're headed first. Typically you're going to see the KO there regardless. But, with Sunset especially, and Lotus as well, which is map 2 and map 3 of the series that we're getting into today, all of those have been up in the air and big question marks throughout. There is some things to mention, though, here. Number one, we watched NYIT just a week ago actually lose out to SNHU. So that's a question. Is this NYIT team, have they been improving over that time, or are they able to take it to these defending champs of Utica? That's the question that is on my brain as we jump into the map selection, the agent selection here for Ascent. Anything that's jumping out to you initially, or no?
You know what? I hate it when we see things that are textbook, but this is pretty textbook for both sides. The very significant thing is, we were mentioning this guy at the start of the broadcast. KO is that secondary pick that is next best thing. You have KO and Fade that are really able to sort of replace Sky's abilities, if any, right now. And seeing this almost mirror comp, it just makes sense, at least for right now. Ascent is a very stale map at the moment. Just in an unbiased perspective, we haven't seen any map changes actually come to Ascent in a while. This has been that textbook sector just for being able to operate as Jet, being able to get that information on Sova. You're not seeing Sova on Split, you're seeing Sova on Ascent in the bigger maps to be able to take that space and maintain it. And being able to expend this utility on both sides, it makes sense. It's now up to who's the better team in terms of making this comp work a little bit more.
Yeah, and listen, some may say stale. I think I would probably say the same thing. Others could say stable, right? We know what to expect. Teams know what to expect, and they know how to react to situations as they come down the pike. That definitely is something to think about as we head into Ascent, and I think that makes getting the practice for this map, I'm going to say a little bit easier, generally speaking. So yeah. I'm curious to see, the set plays. I don't want to say there hasn't been a lot of changing into the meta. There hasn't been, but I do think that we know what to expect, and that's true for teams and players as well.
Exactly. But again, that predictability could change in massive amounts. This is, again, seeing how teams have been able to rise and fall at the beginning of the semester, especially Utica and New York IT respectively. They've had their chances to lose and win against these teams within the East Coast Conference to be able to go, okay, this is how we're going to adapt. These are the mistakes that we're making and how we can capitalize over the opposition's weaknesses. And that is so important to be able to determine growth, right? It's not really just keep practicing over these games and the off time that we have between these rounds. It's also just being able to go, this is what we were seeing in this tournament, because almost every tournament has their own weird caveats in terms of strategy, Vincent.
Yeah, that's very true. But let's zoom out just a little bit before we get into the nitty-gritty and talk about our expectations here, because Utica, I mentioned, defending champs the fall semester, they took it all the way. Not only that, but they actually have been doing some big damage throughout the collegiate space. Took a map off of Winthrop, who have consistently been in everybody's like top 10, top 15, even though some weaknesses exposed there in the fall. They've been out there, and that was over in CVAL. So I think that this Utica team, they're here to prove what they have on offer, and I can't wait to see what NYIT can do up against them here on the defense to start things out. And well, it's looking like more of the A-sided play to get us started.
I have to agree with you, and that's going to be something, you know, they're not trying to fake it in any way, but there is a crunch attempt coming through here. We've got a 3-man, 2-man split coming straight down, and Akira's about to have all that damage expended.
Oh, well, 0 point, making that dark cover a little less ideal. Akira caught on retreat. Good to get one out of that, though, as Utica still continuing to make their way forward, but no site control just yet.
4v1 now, remaining players, and that's a clean sweep for the Duelist and the Initiator straight onto site. That was amazing. But again, a great attempt from Utica to be able to do that initial split. But the question is, in a pistol round, is that double split right off the bat something that you want to be doing?
That is a good question, and I think really what it comes down to as well is getting the timing right. You know, they had the coming up cat, they got into tree, and everything was going well. They even got the trade out into tree. That's all well and good. Akira gets one, but then goes down. But where are your players coming in through main? Where are these guys? They have to be able to get that second side of the split and find purchase. That didn't happen, and thus Utica fell just a little bit flat. And so NYIT starting out strong, getting that early lead. You always like to see on Ascent for the defense.
And getting that space here for Utica too. NYIT is left in a bit of a crunch with these smokes coming down as the picks are coming straight through as well, tying up the score, but still, as Pristine is maintaining more space than Utica typically had at the start of the round. But this is not stopping NYIT to take that back. Capitalize it as Sin gets that trade through, spike down, 1v1 situation.
Take flight. I mean, position going to be getting away by the Owl Drone, or at least it could have been. Don't know, actually, that NYIT have spotted this. Sin should get the message sooner rather than later, though. There's only so many places that he can be in. Backboat House is now the only place left. The free fire isn't going to be good enough, and Sin will deliver a close one at the end of the day, but NYIT stay flawless.
And there is that walk-in straight on through to Boathouse, and that's the sort of predictability when, you know, you put Utica in a position where they can't really go up to lane or anything. You on the defense as NYIT, you're sort of taking that space. You're not leaving them an ability to go back to main or go back into more positioning. You're sort of cornering them in a place where you'll definitely know you have to be clearing first. And that's something really powerful to just be going like, you know, we don't need to be isolating 1v1s in a way that's standard. We can do this to be able to help us.
What do you think of this buy here? I mean, Op invested for Exciser, but pretty much everybody else, you know, with 4 out of 5 players going down, they're gonna keep it light. The one rifle kept in from the last round and that Op.
And that's the thing in the early rounds. You'll want to make a risky decision like this, but be able to capitalize and have a return on the investment that's safe enough for you to be able to do this. And that's exactly what's happening with Operator in. But there's a lot of close fighting happening now as all of B-side's been taken. Absolutely no capitalization here on the Operator, and Pristine and Anchor going through, helping Utica get that plant down now.
Well played, and I mean, gotta shout out as well those shock darts. There was, what, 75 health immediately gone, and then another shock dart connects. Utica didn't even have to really take a fight on the site. They had utility doing the damage for them and making that fight rather. Granted, it was up against a classic, so would it have really been a big deal? Probably not. Even less of a threat. Jay doing a great job of that. And so, as we jump into what's going to be the actual gun round, it was a risk, as you mentioned, that didn't quite pay off for NYIT. Exciser couldn't really do anything, didn't even have positioning to do anything with the Operator, and so we'll be without for this round. Everybody else, though, doing okay as we see Utica start to close that distance after the pistol.
And that's what I like to call a little bit of whiplash, right? Especially with just 2 rounds. Having that willingness to be so aggressive, it can bite you back. Now Pristine's doing that pretty textbook enter in, which is going to help a little bit, but again, falling back, being able to get that fake down as we're seeing the rest of Utica heading towards A. That's exactly what needed to happen. Utica to get that fake executed. But Zeiser's already caught speed. The wind is allowing the return of NYIT to defend A site now. Aldroid coming in to help try and scale Utica. But all this information now. No pushes quite yet.
At the very least, that early information allows for a rotation, and Sin here to deliver, does get the one, but it's 2 quick trades, and NYIT, you're back down, and not quite out. 2 on 3. HP relatively low there for Killjoy, but Akira still full health and ready to roll for this retake. All 3 players stacked up for Utica back towards Hell.
And you don't have to go back to main. That's the beauty of this. You could if you wanted to, hypothetically, but being able to leave NYIT in a position where they go, there's only 2 of us left, and we have information that at least most of Utica are still staying on site. You know, they're still trying to clear Hell, as we're seeing right now. And this double trade out, so impressive to be able to get those extras. But Akira managing to finish it off! Wipe Utica while almost being able to defuse the spike. What happened with that first tap? Now I'm on the edge of my seat. There we go.
Hey, that was awful close. What is that, 0.3 of a second? Not much time left. And that little fake tap, whatever happened, nearly did cost them, but close only counts on horseshoes and hand grenades. This is neither of those. And so, great work from Flux just to get the one. You know, walking into a 1-on-2 there actually gets away with the kill, and Akira to close things out. 3-1. NYIT starting out strong.
I gotta agree with you. And of course, Utica had tried to keep that space in a really impressive way, but at the end of the day, if you're leaving yourselves all in one very tight spot like that, it's gonna make things difficult for you. But it's a new dawn, it's a new day. Here's that recon getting shot off the bat. And the frags have started a little bit further back than you'd imagine.
Love this adjustment from NYIT. You know, they played it quite a bit more passively towards B for these last couple of rounds, and that, you know, with the op, they pushed aggressively out towards mid. This time, though, they get a forward position into A main and into B main, and it works in both cases. An opening frag on either side of the map is split them right down the middle, and it's looking likely that Utica gonna have trouble turning this on the dime. It's Jadal alongside one more in order to try and cut this back. It was 2-on-5, cut to 4.
This is a significant contribution on the defense side, just being able to grab frags on both sides of the map and almost put Utica in a position where they can't really go anywhere but mid in theory once you've gotten those frags down. But with time of the essence, still Spike needing to get planted down, and it's a 3v2. We've got NYIT at a pretty decent advantage here as long as they're not caught it in. Especially with Akira here on main, grabbing that extra frag. And Akira really just that main post helping out there for NYIT.
Not only that, I love the patience that Akira is playing with in that position as well. Not getting, you know, too overzealous. You can easily commit to that fight, but if you lose it, then you're setting up 3 isolated duels, and that's where a 1v3 happens. Instead, Akira just waits, reswings with the rest of the squad, and we'll shut it down before things get too out of hand, despite some nice attempts at some heroics there from Pristine in the back end of the round. Utica couldn't do it, and so with that, they do come into this round with a boatload of ultimates. Now, not a lot to work with in the economy, but there's opportunities, some options, especially with a Blade Storm in the pocket.
Get out of my way.
Interesting stinger pick we're seeing here on the attack, but it is proven to work as long as you execute it right, especially with the Blade Storm online, indeed.
I used to be the biggest fan, actually, of the Stinger. You know, then they killed it. I couldn't believe it.
They did! It was horrible!
Well, listen, I can't lie and pretend it wasn't OP, but it was like the second best sniper in the game.
A sniper within itself, seriously.
Yeah, that burst was deadly, I tell you. Ooh, well, anime
Ooh,
battle
here
for a
are these
moment.
silent enters. Yeah, silent enters, but that's something NYIT is going to grasp on and really try and get a hold to keep that round advantage. You see one, you see that threat, and everyone was almost trying to go forward for it, but not taking the bait exactly until Akira comes running through.
That 0 point
Things
really
change up a little
isolated
bit.
him.
Yep.
It was tough to even find a way out of that situation, and I love the follow-up as well.
But as you also referred to, these ultimates being online for both teams, it could be something that they need to be expending a little bit more here to win this round instead of just the frags. We'd seen how they were able to get their utility down in place of their own souls, but Akira is thirsty for more, of course. That run and gun paired with Sin, that's another one for NYIT.
Akira was actually just being the bait there, didn't even get any of those kills. It was Sin who cleaned him up ultimately at the end. So realistically though, Blades didn't actually have too much of an impact in that round, unfortunately for the attackers, as Utica will try and reset a little bit. But hey, now with guns in their hands, these bigger ticket items, these, you know, for example, that lockdown or the Hunter's Fury, I'd love to see them have a plan in place and execute it from the start. We have seen them be a bit tentative in their approach, you know, more of a default setup, which you really often see on this map. Now, I think a set play is in motion.
I think a set play is in motion too, 100%. They've had their few rounds to start feeling the situation. Now Pristine with that enter straight on again, missing that recon bolt, missing everything, especially with the cloud burst, being able to get that protection down. But Akira back on site, almost being able to finish it off a little bit and get some advantage for NYIT. But Utica managing to get on site like this. What an execute! I was seeing Xysis try and stay alive as the last play standing technically. And there it goes. Pristine finishing it off.
Little null command answered by one of their own, and Henzo getting the better of it. 2 kills outside of just the utility to get him onto the site. It was that play to try and just clear out space, find the kill on Akira back at Boathouse, and Utica have put together what is just their second gun round, but they've been fleeting. You know, they got the victory on, you can't even call it a gun round, actually, the bonus round, and it was so limited in weaponry. It was just one rifle, really, for NYIT. Utica finally get something going with that round here and now, and that's going to be locked down pretty darn early on. Wizards going to try and lock out the B site for the moment.
And this could make or break the attack in theory. You know, you've got NYIT in a bit of a weird position how they have historically with B, and now instead decided to get this crunch down, as we're seeing here, walking through mid, especially in a 3v1 that we've just seen now. It's giving that advantage that was needed for NYIT to switch things up for that retake. 3v3 now, Spike is down.
They do have Hunter's Fury if they would like to utilize it. Trying to get that out, though, in the back of the site. Going to be difficult. Nice 0 point. It's going to lock Henzo in, but all he needs is a rifle. Maybe he needs more. 33 HP. Not a lot to work with left, and they're going to try and take a more aggressive angle on the left-hand side of the site. But no fight yet. Maybe some info off the recon. Absolutely, that'll do it. Jadel with the first, it's Henzo to provide the second. Sin all alone, his HP low, and death comes quickly as Utica has started to finally put together the pieces.
And there's that true teamwork as well, being able to square things off without having to expend more space, more energy, just localizing on site and doing what needs to be done, getting that utility at the forefront, and maintaining the discipline. At the end of the day, a big strength here is just for teams to generally keep in mind that protocol of being disciplined enough to know you don't have to take every fight that you're taking. You don't have to be as aggressive as you really need to, and sometimes just holding an angle is inevitably going to do more for you. And now that's left NYIT in an eco. We're on a save here for the defense, but a defense on a save. 3 ultimates in hand. It's unlikely any ultimate's going to get expended here.
Yeah, but if you find a bit of an advantage early, like Xyzer might do just here. Got a free shot. First is his. Sin follows up with another. The shots through the dark cover. Henzo to deliver. Sure, rotations have come, but a Bucky in hand for Visor. That's going to be a fun strategy, though. That's lockdown fragment, locking him out of the possibility to take this shot. Now in a 3-on-3, that's when the ultimates could be viable.
Henzo managing to get those picks that were absolutely crucial for the attack as he continues to do so. Look at this with the 4. We're able to get a 5 here from Utica. And then, of course, following it up with the correct utility for him. Whatever's going to be able to complement it. And that's where your ace is 100% deserved. That was absolutely wonderful to be able to keep taking space in front of sight, straight to the back, getting your picks down, and playing off of your utility.
And it's not just the space either, right? Henzo dealt with Sin, who was down in hell. He was the guy, the linchpin actually, to delay that take even further, to allow the lockdown, the space to work with, and the ability for them to get back in there. Instead, he goes down immediately thanks to Henzo's wherewithal and just popping a couple shots through the dark cover. It all led to success, and pretty much all on his lonesome. Puts his score within spitting distance, just one round between them for Utica and NYIT.
And now the Null Command straight in again for Utica, trying to keep that Hunter's Fury, prevent any planting down. Visor really taking that upper hand here, but that's not going to stop Utica. They still have their space. It's up to, are they going to get a little bit too aggressive here? Up on that defender side when NYIT is already rotating through in a position because they know Spike has come down. And Anchor still trying to anchor it down there, but managing to get traded. This is a sector where Visor could make or break this for NYIT. 3v1 now. And there we go. Visor defusing, finishing it off with Akira. That was really interesting to aggress a little bit too much there on a Utica side.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the idea, right? They had that positioning. If Visor didn't get the frag up in heaven, then things are a whole lot different. But even beyond that, Utica actually had a chance to win that. If it weren't for Akira's fantastic paranoia, that caught both the players towards hell, and it really made it difficult to actually defend what was a fast-coming retake at the end of it. NYIT back in business after losing 3 in a row. Served up their first eco of this game as well in that run, but it's not going to stop Utica, not by a long shot. It seems that they found a bit of an angle about where they want to be headed, and it's this A site consistently these last couple of rounds, and they're back for more.
It's putting them in a pinch at its finest. You're not threatening your own soul here for your team, but instead getting your utility to do the work at its finest. Pristine has already taken the lead here. You have dark cover preventing the rest of the team to get onto side, but attackers on Utica have that spike down with ease, and now it's up to a very strong retake from New York Institute of Technology in the best way possible.
Yeah, that no command though. I'm looking, I'm waiting, and I'm ready. Oh my goodness, that 0 point was actually massive. Tons of information. Now comes everything we were looking for with the null command fragment as well. Visor is going to take the first, and Sin gets one with the fragment before things get traded out. Pristine still alive, and in fact, this is getting dicey. It's going to be Wizard to close it out. Down to the wire, and Utica come away on top.
That's a jaw-drop moment at its finest there, being able to swing out at the moment where it's absolutely needed. That was a bit of a gamble for Visor to be able to try that revive on Sin there. Had to be done, if any, but then the question is, how much time can you be playing with? And Wizard had the perfect opportunity to get that down.
A game of chicken, really, right? Is he going to swing? Is he not going to swing? That's the question, and unfortunately, the commitment to the revive, or even just taking the shot at it, it's going to be the difference maker. Down to the final round of the half. Here we go. Lockdown through. Oh, massive amount of information from Visor. Shock Dart doesn't really do its job. Can't even get out. The blades chasing him down, but he does escape with his life. A sprint that was beautiful.
Absolutely. Not quite being able to get off scot-free, but that's still going to do numbers for New York Institute of Technology to be able to get things a little bit easier for them. You know, having that extra soul, having that extra util on the belt, especially with Spike being down now, it's time to play retake. But the question is Utica's spacing going to leave them at a disadvantage here? And that's a yes! Look at this, happening all at once now as Henzo Wizard clean it up. All this space, and quite a bit of dark covers I'm seeing here.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to get back into that B site is a tough task all on its lonesome, but for how much there was available to Utica's post-plant defense, that's where life goes from difficult to nigh impossible when you have such a forward hold. It's 6-6. After a really solid opening 6 rounds, leaving NYIT up 5-1, we're tied at the half. How could Utica bring this back? Well, the champs, they're not champs for nothing.
And it's really impressive to just see a majority of why they have been dropping these rounds so easily afterwards is just from getting a little bit whiplashed, and inevitably the economy hasn't been doing too well for them either to be able to keep up those rifles that is needed, and to also just prevent this util dump that is Utica right now on the attack and now the defense. It's understandably going to be a little bit difficult, but Zysa is up for a challenge with the Frenzy walking straight on through the side. Wizard could be anchoring this down, as we're seeing here. On a 3v3, we've tied it up now.
Oh, well, it was tied. Now down are Utica, but hey, coming back in here, Spike just now being planted, so there's time to work with. Great little angle, though, from Visor. Catches just ahead of Hinzo, and that's enough to send him to the Shadow Realm. It's up to one man, and it's pristine. Sheriff in hand has the big gun on the pistol, but it's not the Sheriff to do the damage. Visor picking up a second defending Heaven, and NYIT pick up both pistol rounds.
And that's the toehold that they're looking for. Once you can pick up those pistol rounds, it's going to do numbers for you. To at least, hopefully not get whiplash once more, right? Being able to hopefully pick it back up, realize what's just happened. And Sin being that one-man dream buy for the rest of NYIT right now, this is doing something different to the operator that we'd seen at the start of the game, but in a safer way.
Yeah, I mean, though, I think that was on the bonus round, not the second round, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless.
Yes, it was.
Regardless,
it was at the start.
Yes, it was. But NYIT, they're going to have no problems. They're walking into a free site. Free real estate, baby. Just walk right in, take the space, and get that plan down anytime you like. The Sin will have no issue there. It's 5-man retake for Utica. I mean, numbers can overwhelm. There's always that chance, and if you were getting a little too far forward, we'll start them out in the right direction.
Well, it's always got that conga line in terms of power and being able to know who's going in first. And there goes Sizer with a 4K straight from main. There was no pushing out onto site needed there for that one. That speaks volumes.
Individually, we've seen some incredible work from both squads across the board, but some of these moments of just aim skill from Exciser have been so fun to watch, and that being one of them. Just some fantastic showings. NYIT, though, this is where things get tough. This is the real nitty-gritty. Gun round coming up a lot earlier this time out with so many players surviving for NYIT in the second round in the anti-eco. Utica start things out a bit more passive, understandably so. They don't want to lose out early, and Flux is just taking a massive amount of damage.
Then again, they also don't want to be in a situation where everyone's gamble stacked on the one side. They've evenly split it up. They've learned from their mistakes a little bit here. And that could help them in this event, especially being able to work together as a team in duos. As we see NYIT start to take their space, try and capitalize up and get the plant down. Flux doing numbers to be able to get that to happen quicker, as we're now at a 5v2, leaving Utica in a bit of a crunch. And, Visor getting caught off guard, but still decent positioning from NYIT to try and expend more space. That was just a bit of unlucky timing.
Yeah, they have a good crossfire set. So trying to approach this retake, it's going to be very difficult, even with Pristine. Queuing up the dashing Slicer says, no thanks, buddy. We'll be seeing you later. As Sin does the same to Hinzo on the other side of the KO duel. It's 9-6. Just a reminder, this is not NYIT's map pick, by the way.
Absolutely insane. And we've seen this happen too, where they'll jinx each other and win each other's maps, and it is absolutely hilarious, but it works in one way or another. And sometimes it's actually useful to see sometimes these teams sort of doubting themselves in map picks and going, hold on, we've got a bit of true potential coming out here. And it can really just make things change in a good or bad way for both sides.
Utica have just a couple of rounds, though, to start to solidify themselves, because I mean, as much as I don't expect it to be a round like this one, they have another gun round, but at that point, NYIT will have that double-digit mark. This is do or die at this point for Utica on their own map. So, not this round, but the next. I need to see a game plan for Utica. Something, maybe some aggression on the defensive side that we haven't quite seen. You know, just cast your mind back to when NYIT pushed both A main and B main at the same time, found an opening pick on either side. That's the kind of vibes I'm looking for Utica in the next gun round.
I gotta agree with you there. Being able to just get things differentiated, if any. But now things are happening mid, you know? We were sort of luring towards the fact that things are only happening on the respective sides, but we saw last round, now we're seeing it even more this round. Mid is starting to be that battleground that we're looking for.
I mean, making me shut up. I was talking about Utica maybe not having so much a chance in this one, but Pristine, he's behind them all. He's got a free shot. He might have more than one. Gonna line the first, not quite the second. Great turn from Flux, but they're out of time and out of space as Hinzo and Anchor have shut them out. A thrifty round. I said Utica needed to make the play this round or next, and they chose this round right now to be their time.
And things were cutting it close. You rightfully so had managed to go, this needs to happen now or never. And indeed, they went straight through it. It's like they heard you, straight through the microphone. Now I'm going with the Bucky choice, but likely then, based on this Bucky, Pristine's going for the Bladestorm. We'd seen some things happen within Bladestorm in general as a utility the last half, and coming in this half, it could do things for the defense. There we go. Coming straight online.
Hey.
The 0 point doing the same thing.
Yeah, Zeiss are saying whatever you can do, I can do better. Give them both a grand shot at that. The 0 point not quite finding as much information. I think just catching one, if I'm not mistaken, from Sin out there in mid.
And now he waits it up. Oh, just being able to get picked off by Anchor there. With a little bit more awareness, things could have been a lot more different to be able to make that work, a lot more capitalized off of that really risky play, if any. But could be a good one as we're seeing things changing up now. That mid take had really just started to cause a domino effect for both teams, just being found everywhere.
Are they going to invest this lockdown? Bladestone close by. Slicer needs something big. That 0 point, it's massive, but he gets the gun out just in time. 3 bullets left. It's not enough as Hinzo puts him to bed. The Phantom in hand and 11 HP for Flux.
11 HP in a dream, what can I say? You've got a whole ultimate ready to come online if you need to, but that's going to make things a lot more difficult on your side if you pop that down where you are right now with Flux in Boathouse. But instead, the Discipline Peaks might actually be the saving grace here. Pristine on just a bit lower HP. That was an even fight almost.
Oh my
still
goodness.
A good one. And it doesn't look like Pristine's gonna make it!
It's close.
And there we go, doesn't even make it. That was the perfect timing to be able to just hold on there.
I thought for a moment Pristine was gonna end up dying to the swarm on the ground as well. What a way that would have been to end it, but no, I just didn't have enough time. Like you say, the nano swarm saving the day as it tends to do. To be honest with you, Flux using every little bit of utility and time at their disposal. Less than a second was the difference between victory and defeat. As double digits for NYIT, they answer the call of that thrifty with a victory of their own.
Sometimes you need that saving grace to be able to do, again, that strategic play of time. Just messing with the clock as you need to. And now this lockdown, Flux didn't use it last round, and that was a good thing now as they're able to try and retake that space. Leaving NYIT in their positioning as needed. But that might cause concern for a flank for Utica.
Locked out of the site for now, though. NYIT have position. They can get the plant down. But a 5-on-4 numbers in Utica's advantage. Visor is really the linchpin. Needs to find some space to get further forward. Massive moment to make the play, and Visor does just that onto the opposing Hanzo. He's still got a crossfire set, needs to pick his time correctly. Missed opportunity on that paranoia. Visor can't do it. Time is ticking away. It's up to Flux again. Blinded on the first, and Hinzo shuts him down. There Utica go. The numbers advantage eventually overwhelming NYIT on the side.
And there's your double peaks, being able to not have to isolate things on your side, being able to make NYIT isolate themselves in turn, backing them into a corner where they just play into your hand. And that's exactly what Utica managed to do to make that work and bring themselves back. This is an awfully close one. I've got to say, Vincent.
It sure is. And, you know, you look at how NYIT have been able to win both the pistol rounds. You think if maybe that had been, you know, a split 1-1 type of situation, this would be a tie game, you know? Instead, NYIT still have that little bit of a lead that they can hang on to. Utica walk into this round with a bit of an ultimate advantage, but a massive gun advantage.
Massive gun advantage indeed, but we've seen the thrifties happen here. We've seen it happen through these games. It could have a history repeat itself sort of effect, and that's something we don't want to be seeing. To go too trigger happy in that case. Flashpoints happening on main, sorry, to try and get that down. But no dice, no picks. That's a good thing for both sides though, to just slow it down for a sec.
Hey, I seem to recognize this a little bit. A little split towards mid. Great lineup for JDL, though. That's perfect. That'll cut down the mid side of that split to just potentially one. Flux actually has a spike, which is bad news if you want to actually hit the A site. Gonna have to fall back with the audio cue from the Owl drone. Gets information and, well, quick TP to back a boathouse. Without the spike, though, this is still an ambitious strategy.
Ambitious is one way to put it, certainly. Time is of the essence, especially if you've got a defense posted on the site where you need to be going. But that doesn't seem the case right now. Akira's sort of just keeping hold of things. Things could change pretty easily. But the positioning is looking pretty stable.
That little bit of information, though, on the bot, knowing that Akira has crossed over, gets that information, and, well, now, if it was ever a question, it's a sure thing. Dodging and dipping around this utility, JDL eventually will find it with the spam.
And here it is, not dedicating that fight if you don't need to, then re-swing it again when you're ready enough. The buys are unfortunately falling down. Despite the attempts and the efforts there, as one player remains, things are looking a little bit grim for that defense of the attack. Flux. Maybe I spoke too soon. There we go.
Oh my goodness,
Flux really coming around like that.
Flux has simply convinced me that there's no such thing as a done deal. Not in this game, not in this series, that's for darn sure, because it was almost a 1v4 that Flux pulled off. The first three of the first two of which were with the Sheriff. So NYIT, as you mentioned, keeping it close, nearly a thrifty right there. An operator out for Pristine. I don't think we've seen Pristine on the op yet this entire map.
No, we haven't. It was Zysa when we'd seen things happen towards the third round, that bonus sort of thing. And it didn't look too well, but now Utica's able to take advantage of that instead.
Well, they've got him locked in over towards A main at the moment. Nobody heading that direction, though. It's a mid to B split. Half of it heading through mid, the other through main. One back boathouse, that's all that's actually on the site proper for Utica in defense.
Oh, there we go. That's able to keep Jadal in their positioning as needed. Nanostorm coming straight down, but there we go. The trade comes through. Things are relatively evened up now once this KO is out. And Sin falls. But this is okay right now, as long as Utica can play it right with their utility, which is exactly what we're seeing now as Zysa falls. Anchor capitalizes, and the dark cover's coming through! Pristine with the shorty, and once you got that information, there's no going back. And now holding that angle, Zysa's got no idea, and once that idea's been brought in, there's Pristine with the operator. Managing to hold on to it by the end of the round. Congrats, Utica.
Such a valiant effort. Pristine just had the right timing. As they walked through the smoke, Pristine's like, oh, hey there. Had the time to pull out the shorty as well. Didn't even need the operator. Fantastic stuff. That's a tied game, 10-10. Utica have played this entire game from behind. At the best point, it was tied 6-6. Now it's tied up once again at 10-10, but the lead has never been Utica's. Now is their chance to solidify it. 4 ultimates coming into this round, and some big heavy hitters as well with the Hunter's Fury, the Lockdown, the Blade Storm as well. It all comes down to this with NYIT on a bye round. Let's see what they have to offer. Spike left in spawn for the moment for NYIT. They're not interested in committing anywhere at this point.
That's a pretty far walk for a Lockdown to come straight through, though. Things need to happen, and they need to happen fast. And it doesn't look like we have any from the shadows happening anytime soon for Utica. That's a different story, though, of course. Lockdown straight in. There we go. We're seeing now. Looks like a fake hit. Falling straight back. And Pristine able to prevent that hold that Zeiss was trying to do to keep NYIT being able to rotate through. Spike heading its way down tree, and it looks like we might have a close call here as there's one chilling out on tree. Operator in hand. Pristine just waiting it out. 30 HP in a dream.
That Lockdown has had the opposite effect that they were hoping for NYIT. It's actually entirely empty the B site. This is an A stack of anything. And that is what they're going to do.
I think that was the fake that they were trying to look for, but that fake ended up just turning it into things were going a lot quieter than they needed to.
Well, whatever the plan was, they've had to readjust. There's 24 seconds left. They got to get a move on. This is time of the essence.
Shadows traveling. 15 seconds. Time is of the essence, as you said. Waiting for the bomb to come down in a timely manner. It's going to be something a little bit of an ask, but Hunter's Fury trying to stop it from afar. Being able to get 2!
They got the spike down.
That's Utica already having the advantage. But nevertheless, exactly, Spike is down, but this aggression catching him off guard a little bit. Bit of a wallbang situation here. Narrowly avoiding it as the defusal is active and ready. They know they caught onto that rotation. And that's another round. Utica managing to come back into the lead.
I mean, Utica have just kept strong throughout this entire game. I mentioned how they've been behind the whole way through. This is their first lead, and it's into round 22. That's where we're at currently. But timeout called. NYIT going to take a moment and try and regather their thoughts, regather what had been a fantastic game thus far that's really fallen out of their grasps at this point. They've got to figure a way to make these moves, and it's with a limited weaponry pool. I mean, they're going to have rifles, but you can see the money isn't great to begin with, and now they have to figure out how to do whatever they can on that limited budget. What is the plan? That's what I want to know for NYIT. What would you do?
And you know what? The situation really is here. They were able to let Utica play into their hands, but now Utica is allowing that to happen for NYIT. Utica is being able to just have NYIT run at them. We're seeing NYIT go up into the spawns, into the heavens, and it's making things a little bit difficult for them just because they're too far forward, they're too isolated. Maybe if they're playing in twos, it could be a 100% different story to be able to get those trades and at least minimize that risk a little bit more. But again, with your risk evaluation, if you're not getting a play in the hand moment, it's going to leave you in a part where you need to just dial it down a bit.
Where will we see this go? NYIT, going to keep it simple, straight out. Over to the A site, it would seem. They're going to get space on it. Pretty much given up. Great flash to get him back in, and Pristine didn't even have to commit. That was through the dark cover. Just one tap into the corner.
Ooh, now this recon bolt is going to do wonders for Utica to stay up aboard here now. Hunter's Fury trying to do even more there. Only to remain for NYIT back and get easily changed with this punch coming out.
Oh.
Straight through tree, straight through heaven. And there it is, there's that take to lead us to a match point for Utica. That was so well executed for them too. But NYIT still tried to put up a bit of a fight.
They did. They got onto the site, and that was fantastic. But little micro play right there from Pristine. They had the support of Henzo tossing the flash for Pristine to just walk right out, get the one tap on the shorty, and then just escape like a ghost in the night. Straight back through that smoke, and it was pretty much over from there. They had the numbers advantage, and they were able to trade effectively to get back into business. This could be the final round of Game 1. This is a best of 3 series, sure, but what a massive blow it would be if NYIT were able to close a match like this where they've had the lead for so much of it. And now they're up against the wall. One more opportunity.
Well, not quite managing to get anything down with the Odin. This plant attempt coming through. No idea that Zeiss is trying to come through. And there it goes. Hanzo managing to trade things off to make things a little bit easier for Utica, but everyone is falling now as NYIT in a 4-man situation. And they're getting a little bit too aggressive here. Hanzo managing to grab the chokehold on that. And now there's plenty of time left to be working with. Just slow down, go, what utility do we have? And play it from there. Now with that information, we're seeing this push come out for Utica. This could change things massively as it's a 3v2 now.
Well,
What?
1v3. Sen got a couple of suppresses off, but Wizard, there was bullets aplenty heading his way. Time, just enough of it by the look of things. Yeah, just about a second left as Utica close it out 13-10. Their map pick is theirs, and a victory very hard fought. Let's be real, but a well-deserved one for Utica Blue as they take the lead in this series.
The retakes were there, being able to finally come back again as we'd seen. Utica being able to get that advantage once again and playing into each other's hands was just something that kept getting bounced back, right? You had a few domino effects from just having one player try and get a little bit more space. The mid was kind of being the strategy there for both sides eventually as well. But now we're seeing a well-deserved sector from Utica being able to follow through and prevail. It was, honestly, that was quite an eventful game coming from New York State. Shout out over there. But now we're coming into map 2, and it's a fun map 2. It's Sunset. We got something interesting here, especially a new map at that. And I've seen some pretty interesting things come in from the other tournaments within Esports U, and at least game changes and challenges that have been starting. So who knows here, Vincent?
Yeah, a great question. I'm excited to see that as well. It's NYIT's map pick, so there is that as well that they can latch onto, maybe as a possibility to get them back into this series. But we have a couple of minutes. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be jumping right in to that Sunset map. We'll see you then. Well, Utica bringing it back in their own map pick, eventually bringing it to a 13-10 victory. We head into NYIT's pick of Sunset. My name Vincent, alongside Crave. Well, map 2. I just have to ask, what are we expecting? What are we looking to see here on Sunset?
Oh man, Sunset is new. We've come from stale and stable, as both of us had mentioned, into really new and quite volatile at this point in time, because there's not really anything set in motion that everyone's sort of adapting to at this point. Every team's sort of figuring out their own thing. I'm figuring out my own thing. Everyone's cooking in their own respective way. And Sunset is one of those maps where it's not quite split, it's not quite Lotus when you're trying to think of how does it compare to the different maps, right? Because some of them are really about space downs. You need the double controller. Some of them is just a double initiator sort of section. Double might actually come up for some of these maps and do actively. And it's about how does your team work with each composition and how could this work on specifically Sunset. This is something that only time will tell, I think, Vincent.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to like define what like composition necessarily you look to see. And I say that because I sort of unironically, a little bit ironically, seen like 5 duelists actually in a real game on this map. Not that that's good, but I have seen it. I've seen it happen. And I think that's kind of, that like statement really kind of defines the craziness that can be Sunset at the moment. But as we jump into Agent Select, there is a couple of things that we tend to see, and that's, hey, Ray's pretty darn good, and you really can't work it without a breach either.
You can't go wrong with the Raze Breach combination, especially when you're trying to make a double combination from both agent utilities, right? We've seen Raze fade, for example, on Haven before they got pulled out. And in general, just being able to have that extra utility that helps you, right? You have Omen coming in here for both sides. It's almost a mirror composition right now, funnily enough, even though they can't see each other's sides.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of interesting that we've seen the Fade kind of come back into love here on Sunset in particular. It lost favor for a little while there, but considering how good Raze is and how synergistic as well Raze and Fade are, and the need to have, you know, with the amount of open space that there is and corners that you can easily clear with the utility, it's really cool to see the likes of the Fade kind of get back into the meta a little bit here.
I have to agree with you. I was actually talking about this to someone the other day, just the fact that Fade and KO are going to be those people at the forefront now. There's no Sky. We might be seeing different compositions here in Sunset if Sky was still around and viable enough, if you will.
Wait, hold on. Is this a Sky is officially, unfortunately, dead?
Yes. I'm sorry, okay. That's just how it is in my head. Like, at this point, I just can't imagine a world with Sky at this point. And it sucks, too, because we're the same person, basically. She's got the same freaking accent as me, but here we are.
I do love a little bit of Sky. Unfortunately, has been a little bit overtuned for the last little while, so we'll take a backseat for the moment. Yeah, I hate that you're right about that, but it is true. Sky is indeed
It's so painful, dude. We've lost the Tassie Tiger. We've lost the cabbages. We've lost the Seekers. Seriously.
Oh, I missed the opportunity to say not my cabbages there, but it's okay. I'm sorry.
Honestly, rightfully sorry.
No. All right, let's jump into it. Sunset, and what could be the end of the day here. A short one for Utica if they could close this out in 2. But realistically, I mean, NYIT, I think it's fair. You and I would both say that they did the business there for pretty much the whole map. Lost faith a little bit there in them towards the end, but that could be regained immediately, especially with the pistol rounds. That's something NYIT has been doing well in.
Really has been. We'd seen it a lot on Ascent, and just saying how useful it would be to maintain that once you had grabbed those 2 pistol rounds. Pistols of all things, no rifle. Now we're seeing all this utility get used straight in. Flux in the Cypher setup really playing in here. Look at this playing into his hand.
Nicely done indeed. Wizard as well, finding some success. Utica, it's a pistol round for them, at least looking likely considering Visor all alone and already down badly. Henzo will shut the door, and that is almost as quick as it started, right? A little bit of a slower approach initially, and then bang, it was over.
And that's the thing. You want a slow, painful death? This isn't the thing to be doing. You're in a fast-paced game here, and this is really where you have to be thinking about things in a different motion, right? You have mid that's connecting you to both sides respectively in their own really interesting way, and especially being able to just so easily take defender side space as attackers is leaving different things in motion. Now, speaking of different things in motion, looks like we've got a full buy here from Utica as much as they can, but not overdoing it to rifle section yet.
Yeah, I gotta be careful not to do that. For the minute, that passive approach to a mid-hold with some, well, a lot of utility heading Akira's way. Can't do much about it, especially not with a classic. What can you really expect them to do? Utica have B, they have mid, and I'm gonna say it, they have the round. It's just a matter of time. The how long is what's TBD.
And they're still actively trying to scale this space. Look at this Pristine coming straight on up to Zysa. There's one right behind him as well. Looks like Zysa might fall, and that's exactly what happens here. They're really trying to slowly retake their space once they have Spike down, and that's something you could do quite easily here on Sunset, right? The spaces are a little bit more different compared to where we just came from. In Ascent, you can't really expend too much space when you're on a site like B, for example. When you have Switch that's an active situation and Lane that's an active situation, you don't have that here. You actually have a bit more freedom to be working with to be able to maintain more space. It's taking, making, breaking, and it's going to help you.
So, first gun round for NYIT. You said taking space is important defensively as well, and it's looking like we're going to see a little bit of that, or at least we were towards the A site. Instead, they're going to turn around and try and deal with what's a B push. Two different angles of attack. Pristine applying the pressure in from mid through market, find space. In fact, nobody home. The site, it's theirs.
It's theirs without the flux setup. You had the trap wire come straight down, and now more space is being attempted. That is rightfully so. Utica needs to grab backside, and they've just gotten the spike down first as priority. This could actually help New York Institute of Technology to just come straight back on the retake. Look at that. Amazing. And this is lesson learned for Utica to go. You gotta take your backside and your front. You gotta manage to take all your space first, especially once you have spike down.
Yeah, I mean, the question of what the plan is after the spike gets planted has to be in your mind prior to it going down. And that was the problem, right? Whether it be take back site, honestly, you could leave it alone. There's a world where that's just fine. You don't need it, but you have to have a really strong hold of market or of main, specifically, something to set up your post plan. They had none of that. And so it all fell apart as soon as NYIT started to ratchet up that pressure a little bit. It really begs the question what the plan was from Utica. But that last round was a bonus. They didn't have everything. They only had a few real rifles. They had a lot of SMGs. Now it's the full kit and caboodle.
It was quite a powerful fight, despite that gun advantage and the weapons, as you just said, Vincent. It's still really impressive, despite falling a little bit there, but then you come straight back up. Look at this Pristine with the paint shells coming straight through. Things are a little bit silent, but now as every team is seeing each other across the map, that's changing pretty quickly.
I love this. I love Sin getting active here in Elbow. Trying to isolate this fight. Well played. And can he get out? Yes, he can. Little quick-shotted step. And it's a lot of utility to try and catch him off guard. In fact, he gets hit by the Prowler, trying to fall back away from Generator. Pristine will run him down. No escape. Not today, as Utica can equalize there.
And now there's a lot of sightlines blocking that off too. There's no ability to necessarily trade in this case, but as the retake comes through, Spike is not down. There you go. Dark covers, no dark covers. New York Institute can do it all.
As much as I praised Utica for following up on that initial pick, right, denying the escape, NYIT denying the entire site. There's nothing to be had. Pristine, nice fight, will be able to move forward. Hinzo wins another. Ooh. Pristine, that's his third. Akira's now all alone in the one-on-one. Showstopper. Massive time to move away from Akira, though. Time ticking down. Pristine isn't sure where on 2 HP. There's just not a lot of time to work with. Is going to finally have to commit to the spike. All back behind the generator. And Akira ready, waiting, looking, and seeing. But it's still HP so low as Akira will finally deliver a blinder of a shot to give NYIT the tied score.
And that's what you call a show. Thank you for putting on a show for both of you. That was... Wow, the rocket fuse not quite being able to do what we were looking for towards Akira and coming straight on back. We're not scared of a rocket fuse showstopper. We're going to go straight on through. And Pristine being on 2 HP, it didn't do wonders for them. But in the end, just pulling through for NYIT, they've leveled up their score on the board.
That was a 2-on-4 though, almost for Utica. You know, gotta keep that in mind. Impressive work. You know, doubles there from Pristine and Henzo was the other side of that equation. It looked way more plausible than it should have, considering the numbers game.
I agree with you there. Numbers can change so quickly based on aggression levels and risk evaluation. It really is. Henzo. Oh, Henzo just managing to get away with it. Pretty early on in the round, though, nevertheless. We've got 3 ultimates ready to come online for all teams jointly. Wizards still holding on. Again, it's all about this discipline to wait it out. And here we go. This is the cue that was needed to get that first ultimate down. NYIT trying to capitalize mid. Help everything out. Make sure that Utica's not taking that space that they have been. Dropping door down. Again, we're isolating them in a place where they can't plant the spike.
I love that NYIT mid-round is applying such incredible pressure, even though they have the man advantage. They already have 1 player lead, but it doesn't matter. They still are looking for information and ensuring that there's nothing gained for free for Utica there.
Things are still, it's left them in a waiting position, right? You've isolated them into mid where you can't even get a plant down. And NYIT still maintaining their space on those sides respectively, but they have taken defender spawn, and that's why things change up just a little bit, that we've flipped the script.
I know exactly.
Oh, I was loving Flux's timing there, but Wizard watching and waiting. Coming through the smoke, Akira just fine to find victory as Wizard falls. NYIT, they're still back here at the deep A elbow position. And I don't know that Visor's position is known. That's maybe going to be the linchpin alongside Pristine, who is indeed through into spawn and has position gained. 2-on-3.
It's crazy how much power micros can have at this point in time. If it wasn't for Pristine grabbing that frag, things might have been different into where we are now. Oh, 2v1 becomes that one standing so quickly. Again, Pristine coming around, such a significant difference to be able to defeat NYIT on that defense and prevent that retake to come down. But now, Rolling Thunder's ready to come online if needed, and Neural Theft can hopefully make that happen if they need to get a retake down fast while capitalizing it.
Reminder as well that NYIT, they started that round in the first 5 seconds as a 5v4, and Utica still managed, despite the solid mid control and retake towards mid that NYIT put together, Utica still managed to find victory. It was that late frag from spawn from Pristine that really sealed the deal. It's that positioning that has really impressed me from Pristine especially.
I gotta agree with you. Seriously, being able to come around just like that. And now, again, trying to get that spike down, but learning from the mistake of being able to just grab backside first. Rolling Thunder coming online, allowing for NYIT to come straight on backwards. 1-on-1 now there. Oh my gosh.
How is he allowed to do this? What do you mean?
That was a pretty blind Rolling Thunder, aside from all that noise.
Yeah, I'm befuddled. I can't believe that Visor, he ran onto the site, past 3 people, got a kill, then ran past 2 more. They didn't know he was there, shot one in the back, and then got the final frag on the 1v1. How is he allowed to do all of that? Visor just saved that round big time for NYIT, and he's kept this game even.
Did you order a lawnmower? I did not order a lawnmower. That was a lawnmower.
It sure was.
I don't know what Home Depot's doing. I asked for paper towels, but a lawnmower, no. We got to stop the bleeding here now as we're in 3-3. And that was not going to do great. But again, managing to get those site spaces and attempts, really confusing Utica a bit. Especially with Henzo coming straight on down, dropping it. And Sin managing to keep this A space so beautifully with just 1 player. 1 belt of utility. Ooh, Akira's bringing it back, though. Akira's bringing it back.
Well played. What a shot from Visor is going to end up falling even just to the Classic, but this is already a well-done round for NYIT. It's not It's a matter of how much more can they get, and the answer is none. None whatsoever. An eco, sure, but Utica find no purchase. It's NYIT who have made some good space to work with. 4-3 lead back in their favor.
I absolutely love how there was just one person able to anchor an entire site by themselves until backup had come. And that's a mix of discipline, that's a mix of just generally being able to become one with what is happening in your environment, whether it's auditory cues or whether it's just in general. That was beautiful plays from Sin, being able to get that round up for NYIT. But now we've got 3 ultimates, both sides respectively, coming in hopefully on a new sector, and Zeiss is trying here with the showstopper to get something in play. Oh, but those satchels really sabotaging him there.
Yeah, was stuck in the animation, couldn't pull it off, had a double kill ready to go, and it's going to be a follow-up for Utica. They're going to walk right in. Nightfall to follow that. They've got a haunt as well in the back of the site. There's a lot of chaos happening, and Visors cut Pristine down. In the meantime, this isn't a site take. It's unfortunately a site retreat for Utica. As Wizard, how's he here? Where did he come from? How did he get here? I have no clue, but what I do know is that A is the domain of Utica at this point.
We've flipped the script, we've done everything in between. This is just going to be a shock to all of us at some point or another. As Neural Theft pushes straight on through. That's going to do a little bit of help for us here, but Sin is making sure that does not happen. We've tied it up now. Ooh, but this double play against Sin, this could actually be something useful to capitalize off of. Look at this re-peek! And happening now, Rolling Thunder!
Wizard's been a hero of this round. He had so much space, got onto the A side, all on his lonesome. I don't know if he lurked up mid or what happened there, actually, how he got to that position, but he was there and then got the 2 kills to solidify the position and defend it from the retake. Wizard, the big one to shout out there. We talked a lot about Pristine, just to name one, but listen, Wizard having some high impact moments right there.
High impact is definitely one way to put it, Vincent. That was, you know, again, repositioning wise, just being able to slither your way across like it happened. For all.
Spitting. Showstopper. All the way in. Pristine's gonna get one, catching him on the way. Great stun, but the Prowler does some stunning of its own. Jadel will confirm a 3rd kill. The site gone through the smoke. Akira will get the 1, but has 2 directions to look. A boom bot and a shot fired. It's all over so quickly as it started. Utica have taken back their lead.
That's what they needed. They needed that aggression from the Breach, from the General Fade, from the Race, being able to go all 3 on in. You're playing your Initiator so that your Duelist can come out, and that was a beautiful example of just the conga line of who needs to be coming out in order and playing it together, right? You have your info and your flashes respectively that can do that damage that you need to get out, right? Being able to also leave NYIT cornered in a position where they can't do much because there's too much going on site without anyone even being there yet.
A little pace change, you know? That's something that Utica tried to put together over towards B, and it didn't work out so well. This time towards A, it's worked, and how many assists is even possible? That's 4 assists on that kill from Pristine. I don't even know what hit that one player, but it was everything.
It really was everything, Vincent. Seriously, and now this dark cover coming away. Utica's trying to keep more space, as we said, just slowly capitalizing more and more space as the spike is down. It's going to leave NYIT in a rough position. 1 player standing now. Anchor's watching it out. There's 1 right next to Anchor as well for a trade situation if needed. And Utica back on 4-6. That was the quickest turnaround. NYIT really was trying to get it back up there, but Utica being able to just swing it through, Vincent.
Somebody on NYIT has to be screaming right now, like a Pixar villain. Somebody stop him about Pristine. This guy just is not to be stalled, not to be stopped, not to be trifled with for the moment. And this timeout, I mean, I'm going to take a gander and say that's the conversation happening right this moment in the comms for NYIT. How to deal with Pristine and those entries.
That is movement at its finest. Seriously, once you can have a duelist disable, another thing is you have Cypher in the mix here, right? And this is going to make things slightly more complicated for the duelist, but not difficult. Complicated and difficult are definitely two different things in my book, right?
Oh, yeah.
The big thing here is that Cypher utility needs to come down first in the case where Trapwires just planted everywhere to counter this, because that's what's going to happen. If you have a Cypher that can capitalize off of pushing the duelist back, which needs to be on side first. You've got your duelist, initiator, controller, and your sentinel down at the bottom. That's your conga line. If you can disrupt your opposition's conga line in any way possible, that's going to give you so much opportunity. And that's what Pristine is doing. Being able to just rush on in with the right amount of utility, and NYIT is just at a bit of a crossroads here.
Another thing that Utica have done well here is really limit Exciser, right? That's a player, especially on the duelist role at the moment, that needs to be having a little bit more impact than they are currently, and they've not had any real big rounds of impact just yet, and I think that part of that is because Pristine is just owning the site. So what retake? There's just none to be had.
There is none. Honestly, especially when you work that fast like Pristine is right now. Speaking of fast, Pristine is already pretty much up street in a position where they're almost on site to be able to allow the rest of Utica to get on. These dark covers slowly expiring, it's going to leave them in a bit of a position where you've got to bait things out with NYIT, really sort of shake them up a little. But that makes it hard with two amazing ultimates on cover. Nightfall and your Rolling Thunder might make things more difficult. Anchor trying to get that positioning and information on hand. Not finding anything quite there, but that's not going to stop him from being able to take site quite well. There we go. That was your saving grace you needed to get site.
Yeah, just gets confirmation. Nobody back generator, and that means the rest of the utility can be used, but they're missing a big moment because Flux left unchecked gets a free shot. Aftershock for the back of generator as Anchor is the one to put him away. Two more down as NYIT find frag after frag. Wizard alone and Wizard defeated. It's a clean sweep for the retake of NYIT.
And clear that it was a relatively necessary timeout that did well for them. Sometimes there are timeouts where it's just a little bit too far gone. You can't really call one that's going to work, that's going to give you a return on this investment. But this actually worked pretty well for NYIT to just slow it down and go, hey, this is why the playing into the hand thing is just not working for us that well at this point in time. And this defense happened so well. Flux just going completely undetected on the radar.
And what's brutal is they literally checked that corner in the exact same way, but actually cleared it just a round ago. I recall it. And they just didn't check that box. And that's the one error that really makes NYIT's life so much easier to get back into the site. Here we go. Last round of the half. NYIT. This is would be a recovery of sorts. I mean, it's been close all the way, but Utica has taken the reins for the most part. Lead or bust for them here into this final round.
Now it's face your fears as we come on through Spike Plant being attempted, and NYIT again far on site. This was free site where they were able to clear front and back of site as they learned that mistake there. Another Nightfall coming on in. And this utility is hopefully going to allow you to keep their space despite Flux coming in hot with Mural Theft.
Just barely got it off, but the problem is the follow-up on that Nightfall. Where is it? It was so long between the Nightfall and the follow-up. It's made life difficult. Exciser able to get one frag back. Sen needs to get one more, but doesn't quite do it. Wizard delivering. Ooh. Frag after frag in these late round retake scenarios. Exciser alone and HP not the highest, not enough, and not for the round. Utica will take away the half at 7-5, a slim margin, but a margin of victory that could spell their overall victory this series.
And look at this, we're sort of playing tennis at the moment with both teams, sort of just bouncing things back and forth in a way that, you know, as you said before, they'd cleared one thing and it was just a reassurance for the next round, but every round is so different. You have to just keep it up until you know that they're not being inconsistently consistent, because there is consistency, but then there's also doing consistency with the smarts that you're not allowing adaptation. That's a lot of big words.
I mean, adaptation is a big word that means a whole lot, because that is really the name of the game when it comes to Valorant specifically. How do you adapt to what your opponents are doing, and how do you adapt if what your game plan is going in doesn't work? That's what we're going to find out here and now. If Utica, into this pistol round on the defense, can continue their pistol winning run after they lost both of them over on Ascent.
And again, pistol rounds can make or break. And again, they'd managed to win them at the start, which can say something or can just be a little bit of fluke in the numbers and the data. Things are quiet. Alright, here we go. Carter's Coast is coming straight on through. This is a different space to be getting these fights down initially, but that might not be a bad thing here. NYIT is running low on numbers, but that's not going to stop anyone Wizard now, preventing any more plants, if any. Spike is still down in their hands. They have it and ready, and Flux has to do something alone.
Well, at least has a camera to utilize. Another cage as well, just if necessary. Well, I didn't see that Hinzo was behind him, and neither did Flux. So we were on the same page, but the same problem rising for NYIT as Utica take their second pistol of this game. And what's a little bit terrifying is that NYIT managed to win both pistols on Ascent and still lose the map. Now they've lost both of them.
Crazy how the map picks work, huh, Vincent?
Truly, truly is. A little irony, to be sure. Full SMG buy for Utica, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. There's full Spectres. There's not really anything different that you're doing. You're not really pulling a Fanatic where you're going on the light shields, but you're not pulling a bit of a disciplined yet full force. And that's gonna work. That's gonna work for Utica. You're not getting too trigger happy. Oh, Visor almost got away there.
Visor and the Frenzy have a very nice relationship going on. It is incredibly solid anytime he's got that weapon.
If Visor and the Frenzy parted ways with each other, I would not believe in love anymore. That's all.
I think I might cry just a little bit, you know?
That makes two of us, Vincent.
Yeah, some emotion there for sure. 9-5. Massive round for NYIT. They need to start putting this together pretty darn early into this half, don't they?
They really do. Things need to be picking up that pacing a little bit more. You have that 4-round disparity, but things can change so quickly, especially how we've seen them change on the micro, per round, per game. It's almost the same decision that could happen. Pain Shell's going to push Sicer out so that Utica can take that space back. Ooh, but this is the fallback that we're looking for here. Sin managed to do some pushes. This is all just pushing and taking space right now. You can't do anything other than that.
I mean, it's great space, sure, but Utica are trading effectively on the way to that space. And now Jadel is about to find some timing here. Yeah, sure, it's a Spectre. He's got some support. A lot of it, in fact. That paranoia goes fully around the corner, doesn't hit anybody, and there's a lot to contend with. 3 players coming in. Well, a couple from different angles as Wizard makes the way forward, gets traded out. Sin will double down and has picked up his 3rd kill. What started out with yet another pristine opening pick has turned into a 1v1 that Anchor desperately needs to win. Time starting to tick, and Anchor will deliver. You said that things sometimes stay the same. Well, the more they do, the more pristine has success. An Anchor in the 1v2.
Things staying the same, and that adaptation's really gonna make or break some teams, right? Sometimes adapting is not the way to go, but in other times, like we're seeing here, things can work your way, Vincent. I gotta say, and this has actually allowed the economy to come straight back up again for Utica and come from that 5-9 to 5-10. It's looking a bit grim for NYIT unless a pause can get called out. Being able to take a tactical, just a second to breathe, but that can't be necessarily done effectively when you're on this sort of buy and this sort of staging.
Yeah, you gotta try and find the time. They're on the little bit of a half buy type of situation by the look of things. A lot of positioning towards Market. Great paranoia. That's going to set him up beautifully. Everybody coming through that smoke is blind as a bat. And that's 3 for Anchor. He's lined him up and knocked him down like bowling pins. They fall. Utica up to 11.
Within seconds, and again, happening the same way as we'd seen earlier on within the match. Things weren't happening on your usual sights or your mid. It was such close cornering, which had in turn helped Utica quite a bit there.
NYIT
Now.
need this
No
one
bomb
back.
again. Look at this, no spike.
Oh?
They might need it again. Oh, from the shadows. From the shadows is out and ready. This might be the strategy that was being attempted on Ascent.
No, they got it.
There we go.
You know,
I was overthinking it.
Sometimes you forget. You know, it's legit. But again, the more they change, the more they say the same. It's pristine in the opening pick once again. So many times this guy has just owned the first 10 seconds of a round.
You know, I can't tell what role Pristine is on. I don't know what I'd fit him in as. It's almost like he's too good at Duelist to be anything else right now. To be able to frag in and out and stay disciplined enough.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly was playing that injury role before. Now it's just taking the early engagements on the defensive side. He hasn't even been particularly set up. He's just taking the duels. Oh, J-Del.
Oh, man. There's your spike.
And there's the ace, team ace to be precise. 12-5, NYIT. I mean, how have we gone from such an incredibly back and forth, you know, one way then the other first half and first game, in addition to, how many rounds has this been in a row? 5 in a row for Utica? They've just entirely run the gamut of this second half.
And that could be anything. That could be just the fact that NYIT is not there in terms of consistency, right? They're trying to be like, how are we going to adapt to this? Because things are changing a little bit too much to say that it's consistent for Utica. They're being inconsistently consistent. We've come full circle.
That we have Wizard putting the pressure on. That's a rolling thunder that's going to make Wizard's life difficult, but he's got some support. Pristine in that position. Akira will find some work to be done. Pristine here in the back of the site. Nightfall goes in, gets shot in the side of the head. 2-on-3 as Utica go down, falling one by one. Henzo left alone. And they're so very blind. Can't find the shots, can't get the connections. And it will be another big ask for Henzo, who may still have a chance at this.
Let's not dedicate to the fight so we can stay alive. Henzo and the discipline, it's just down to those two together. And with just enough utility in the belt to do something active now. Getting that aftershock down. And now we wait! And this aggression! Oh! Henzo! Has finished it off!
In a 1v3 fashion!
Coming on in the most beautiful manner. Hands are really carrying it up. Congratulations, Utica, for pulling through there. Absolutely amazing, Vincent.
Incredible. I mean, what a fitting way to end what was essentially a perfect half there with Henzo 1v3 clutch in towards that B site. It seemed like a poetic way to shut that down. And, you know, as much as NYIT really put together some solid rounds, especially in the first half, it was Pristine, though, that really took the cake when it came to like the biggest moments, like those entry fights on the attack side, for example, and then the opening picks when it came to the defense. I don't know that this is such a dominant scoreline without it, but Utica overall picking up the 2-0, just dusting off the dirt and sand, easy peasy.
And that's the big thing at the end of the day. Honestly, when you're able to all pull in your own weight, that contributes in their own beautiful ways, right? Sometimes you have to be able to do more than one tactic, right? You have to assume more than one role. Someone might fall, and that's how it is. And once you have uniqueness from each player, as you just explained, coming on through, and on both sides respectively, right? And NYIT put up such an amazing fight. This was an incredibly close game either way. It's not just about the fact that it was a 2-0. It could have easily been a 2-1, or in any situation, someone's got to win at the end of the day, and I hate that, honestly.
Yeah, and this time it was Utica. Listen, as well, defending their championship at the moment, so they take the cake for today. We're gonna see if we can get an interview going. But for the moment, we're gonna head to a short break, and we'll jump in with an interview if we got one when we come back. See you in a moment. Well, after a tight game one, Utica take the 2-0 victory over NYIT. And, well, we have the pleasure of bringing in a interview here from Utica. We've got Pristine, plus the rest of the squad, I've been told. So let's just welcome them. Pristine, first of all, GG, congratulations on the win, and welcome to the stream. How's it feel?
It feels pretty good. You know, this is one of our rivals, so it's always good to get a win.
Heck yeah, it is. Well, I think what I want to lead off with here is what was maybe a bit of a struggle in game one. You guys picked into Ascent, and NYIT came out swinging. What was it that helped you guys kind of, first of all, close the distance and then overtake them towards the end of that game?
I think it was kind of like a collective thing. We kind of just sat down, came together, and thought we were giving them a little bit too much respect. Sometimes, you know, we're a fast team. We played into their pace, so we just kind of swapped it up and ended up coming out with the win. So
that is really impressive from you guys coming on through. I always like to ask if you have an IGL, because now in this day and age in collegiate, it definitely depends. Some people have just the mid-round as the IGLs. It's always important to keep the communications up. How have you guys managed that as a team?
So we kind of do like a triangle method. So we have one main IGL and then two mid-round callers. Usually Wizard is our like main IGL, and then like Hong and I kind of mid-round call, but we still always communicate. My initiators always call things for me that are off the plan and stuff like that. So pretty much all five of us are IGLs at the end of the day. So
important to all communicate. That's really well played.
Thank you.
So I want to jump in as well to you specifically on that second map on Sunset. Kind of just popped off, went and owned the whole game pretty much, especially towards that A side on the attack side. What was it that like allowed you to do that specifically? You know, getting the entries pretty much every round towards the back end of the half.
Practice. We practice a bunch. I practice a lot. This is pretty much the only thing I do is school and this. So a lot of my time goes into, you know, playing the game and putting in the work. So especially, you know, individual maps, entry paths, working with my team, make it easier for me. At the end of the day, without them, you know, I wouldn't be able to do anything like that. So they're a big part of it as well.
Hey, that practice has been paid off last semester, and is continuing to pay off right now. Well, Pristine, before we say goodbye and let you go, any shout outs, anybody you want to say hello to?
Shout out my mom. Without my mom, I wouldn't even be here in the first place, so definitely shout out my mom. And my grandparents if they're watching too.
Let's go. I love the mom shout out. The mom shout out is the best shout out. Pristine, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, man. Congrats to you and your team.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Wow.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Crave, any final thoughts before we look to end things here?
That's a beautiful thing that Pristine had mentioned, that it's all five of them working together, right? Because sometimes people are too quiet or they're not voicing their ideas, and it's a really significant thing to just go, if you have an idea, it's so important to just race with it. Because there are some teams that will intend to exec in one way and they're going to a completely other side by 15 seconds left. Too much time has come down, people are doing their own thing, and it's so nice to see how Utica's intentionally managing to stay bunched up. Communication is so key.
That it is, and we could see it on the server, and we could see there all smiles across their faces. I'm smiling as well as we're getting towards the end of things here. But the good news is there's more esports to be had. It's over for tonight, but we got more tomorrow starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's ECC Overwatch, and then right after that at 8 p.m. Eastern, you've got League of Legends over at the ECAC. So lots more happening here at Esports U coming up tomorrow. Make sure you're tuned in for that and drop a follow on the channel if you haven't already done so. With that being said, it's been a pleasure on behalf of Crave and myself. Hope to see you back here next time. Have a good night. Peace out.